no matter where you are on your startup journey. Why JKX, you ask? With us, you can get access to seed funding, mentors, trainers, business leaders, and access to market that will help you take off. You get backed by Sri Lanka's largest conglomerate and our partner networks. Get investor ready and learn how to accelerate your company fast and sustainably. Keep refueling your startup. Along the way, gain access to corporate networks and services, office space, and partner benefits. Work directly with businesses to solve real-life business challenges, co-create solutions, and shorten time to market. So, you've made great progress and you're demonstrating excellent business viability. You've made it, but there's still a long way to go. Acquire serious capital for your business to scale up, grow your team, gain market share, capture new markets, and build long-term partnerships. It's time to get on board. Get in touch with us now and find out which avenue suits you best.
Hello, fellow hackers. Good evening and welcome to our Industry Open Day for JKX Innovate, our very first Open Innovation Challenge program. My name is Mariam, founder, program lead, and your gracious host this evening. Now, without further ado, let me take you go-getters over what we have in store for you today. First, we'll start off with an opening address by Ramesh Shanmuganathan, and then Vishant Vijay Singha will tell you all a little bit about JKX Innovate. And then we get to hear from the challenge owners. That's Keels, Union Assurance, JKH Group Legal, John Keels Information Technology, John Keels Stockbrokers, and then the most weighted part where you guys get to get all your questions in and we will answer them for you. Now, without further ado, I'd like to call Mr. Ramesh Shanmuganathan, CIO of John Keels Group, to give the welcome address.
Hi, good evening, everyone. It's really we are excited to host this program. And as you know, John Keels X is in the 4th iteration. And the first one was, we did it as prize money. And the second two were pure accelerators. This year, we ourselves have pivoted to launch 3 tracks, right? One is the traditional accelerator, for which we had the open day on the 18th. So today we are actively soliciting partnership from the startup ecosystem to solve our real world problems within the John Keels Group. And this is something we've been toying with for a long time. And due to pandemic, we have not been able to implement that. And we are excited to finally get there and launch at least 6 use cases where we are soliciting your partnership. And this will be something that we will do on a rolling basis. The reason why we are doing this is we feel we can exponentially increase the opportunity in terms of co-creation as well as co-innovation. And we have seen the success of the startup ecosystem in Sri Lanka and elsewhere. And what open innovation and co-innovation could do to organizations such as John Keels. Right, so we are very excited. So we have the business owners who will be taking you through the use cases in specific nuances. And please do ask questions, whatever you have in mind. And as I said, this is just the beginning, right? It's the tip of the iceberg. And the opportunity going forward in the roadmap of John Keels is huge. We are looking at even opening out our data and giving you much more opportunity to collaborate and co-innovate. So stay tuned. All the best. And let's have a fantastic session on this. Over to you, Marisa.
Thank you, Ramesh, for that informative welcome note. Next, I'd like to invite Vishant Vijay Singha, head of John Keels X, to tell you all a little bit more about the program in detail.
Thanks, Mariam. So far, I can bring up the slide. Okay, great. I won't spend too long on the deck. I want you guys to spend more time listening to the challenge owners and getting in your questions. So I'll just rush through this. Before we dive into JKX Innovate, just a bit of history on what we've done. We've been JKX, John KX has been around for 5+ years now. We've run 3 programs, like Ramesh mentioned. The first one was in 2015. It was a business idea competition. This evolved into a fully fledged startup accelerator in 2017. That was JKX 2.0. And the same program was run in 2019, JKX 3.0. And now we are here at JKX 4.0, where we've launched 3 very unique separate tracks, which I will elaborate on the next slide. So over the course of the last 3 years, we supported 50+, last 5 years, we supported 50+ startups. We made 9 investments, and we made 2 follow-on investments as well in Helios and Saints Agro. More details on the teams can be found on our website under the alumni section. So I'll just spend a bit of time here on 2 of our tracks, JKX Accelerate and JKX Innovate. And I'll just explain how these are 2 distinct tracks, but work well together. JKX Accelerate is the startup accelerator program that we've been running for the last 5 years. This provides seed funding initially of 5 million, and you can pitch for follow-on funding up to 50 million. You're provided with mentoring, support, workshops. You get free office space, access to our corporate services, and ongoing support. So the startups we've invested in even 3-4 years back, we are still maintaining those long-term partnerships with these startups. So that's JKX Accelerate. I'll talk about JKX Innovate now. Just building on what Ramesh said, it's an open innovation platform that we've been putting a lot of thought into, which is in a sense connecting people who and connecting them with potential solvers. Potential solvers being the startups, scale-ups, and all these innovative companies that are now booming and thriving in the startup ecosystem of Sri Lanka. You could call this a marketplace for problems, for business problems. That's an interesting way to look at it. So the challenge owners are actively looking to solve these business problems in their respective businesses, and their objective is to co-create, co-innovate with these potential solvers. What's in it for the solvers? They get direct access to these businesses in terms of the domain knowledge they can extract, the expertise that resides in those businesses with respect to that specific problem, funding opportunities and commercial opportunities. You can land these businesses as a client. So there are numerous benefits which startups can derive out of JKX Innovate. I can tell you how these 2 programs work well together. If you are part of the accelerator program, you can, and also if you're in the Innovate program and if you want all the benefits of the accelerator program, you can apply for the accelerator program. So 2 distinct tracks, but work well together. So I mentioned challenge owners and challenge statements. So these are the challenge owners you will hear from shortly. We have 5 challenge owners with 6 challenge statements live right now. And again, like Ramesh mentioned, this will be an ongoing basis. So we will be adding challenges on the go as and when the need arises. So just be on the lookout for these challenges. And we are also hoping to run this open innovation model for the corporate. So if you are a corporate who is on the call right now and you're interested in this, do reach out to us and we can run these open innovation challenges for you. I'll dive a bit into the structure of the program. There's a lot of text, it's quite text heavy, but let me take you through this very quickly. Right now, we're in the application phase. Applications close for JKX Innovate on the 28th of February. That's a 6-week window. Applications need to be submitted via our website, via MetaBeta, which is our accelerator management platform. And this would lead to a 3-week shortlisting phase where we would shortlist 2 to 5 teams per challenge, depending on the applications we receive. We will do this hand in hand with the challenge owners. And then the deepening phase, the column in the middle, is where it gets really interesting. This is where you will engage directly with the challenge owners, obtain feedback and iterate on your proposals, on your products, on your decks. We would have some workshops facilitated by JKX on the problem statement itself, customer discovery, human-centric design. You will be assigned specific mentors from within those businesses, and networking opportunities even amongst our accelerate cohorts and even the startups that are solving problems in the other businesses, other challenges as well. Then we go on to a 2-week selection phase where we would prepare you for that industry pitch day. We'll have workshops focused on pitching as well. And the objective at the industry demo day is to select one team or more, depending on what solutions come out of this challenge, to run a POC, a live POC. And depending on the feedback on the success of the POC, this is all open. There is no specific outcome we can outline right now. So there are many outcomes that can come out of this. You can either extend your POC, go for a further paid POC. You can go for a commercial agreement. You can even pitch for funding directly from that business unit or through the JKX Accelerate program. So there are numerous outcomes that are available for startups in this program. Just very quickly, these are some of our strategic partners we've lined up for you. ICT, our national partner, Microsoft and Microsoft for Startups, our technology partner, with a whole host of benefits that they bring to the table in terms of access to Founders Hub, access to Azure credits, technology coaching, cloud skills challenges, etc. And /com, our industry partner, we have access to those, the member companies, and mentoring from within their networks. I think that's it from me. I think we can go straight into the interesting part of the day. Remember, you can always put in your questions at the we are having a Q&A at the end. So any program specific questions, please do put them in the Q&A slot there. Mariam will brief you on that.
Thank you, Ishan. So Ishan said, interesting, guys. We're about to hear from our first challenge owner. So I'd like to invite Chaitya Subasinghe, President of the Retail Sector at John Keells Group, and Barry Nicker, Consultant Supply Chain Specialist at Keells, to talk about their problem statement and maybe, give us a few hints. We'll see. Over to you, guys.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Let me talk first, before Barry gets down to the problem statement, something very briefly about our business. One could think that it's a very simple business where it's a trading business where you just take the stocks and display it and its sales goes through. But it's a lot more complex, simply because there are a lot of processes involved to make it right. When I say make it right, getting it right for the consumer on one side, their experience part of it, as well as at the back end of improving the productivity, because it's a high turnover, small margin business. So any improvement in the productivity will have a significant impact on the bottom line. While at the front end, processes, whether it's the process of queuing or checking out or all that, in terms of the consumer experience point of view, there are different processes. And if you get it right, you end up with a very loyal consumer. So on top of it, if you take Keells, our point of differentiation against the competition is innovation. And that is where we have differentiating ourselves. You possibly may have walked into our new outlet down Lorries, and you would have got an understanding of the type of innovation that we are looking at for the consumer. But what you will not see is the innovation on process improvements that are done at the back end. So what Barry's the problem that we want to share with you is regarding our logistic operation. And at the end of last month, we opened a state-of-the-art warehouse, 250,000 square foot warehouse, with the intention of supporting our expanding supermarket chain. So Barry, you would like to take over from here and explain the problem that we would want the teams to solve?
Okay, yeah, thanks, Chaitya. Well, continue on that theme. Over the last 7 years or so, Keells have invested a lot of money in a centralized supply chain that has, as Chaitya alluded to, the customer at its heart. And the principles really is continually improving service coupled with continually reducing cost, which may sound a contradiction in term, but that's the balance that every retailer in the world is trying to achieve. So the distribution centre you see behind me will be responsible for supplying something in the region of about 80% of everything that you would buy in a Keells super. We expected to provide significant capacity, a superior store service, and as Chaitya said, at a lower cost than we were able to achieve with our existing operations. Now, to achieve this operation, it's, as Chowder said, it is, or it can be quite a complex operation. And one of the biggest objectives in any organization that runs a complex operation is how do you simplify them? This operation will deal with some 5,000 lines of fast-moving staple lines to imported lines, non-food items, fruit and vegetables, chilled food. And each category brings its own challenges, its quality standards, and the working practices. So it's got a number of moving parts. The obvious ones are labour, and it's quite a labour-intensive process. This particular DC is expected to employ some 500 or so people. It has a specialist designed fleet of delivery vehicles to improve efficiency at stores. There's mechanical handling equipment and store delivery equipment. If you go into any Kiel supermarket, you'll see fresh produce in plastic crates, roll cages for deliveries. And these are the sort of incremental changes that we've been putting through over the years. Likewise, the warehouse doesn't have rubber walls. The capacities need to be managed. And the objective of any DC of this nature and this is a global issue, not just one unique to Sri Lanka, is to keep all the moving parts in synchronization and balance. So the reality is if things become too lean, there's not enough resource to do the job, or that resource is inadequate, then store service will be compromised. If there's too much, you get waste, you get poor efficiency, cost, and the whole operation can become unviable. It's a very fine balance with fine margins, and the consequences can be exponential. So the challenge has to do two things. The first thing is to provide a planning model that basically determines the optimum balance that you need to provide the service to the stores with the resources they're required. So it looks at the cost, the service requirements, and so on. It also has to take in unplanned events, everything from a staff shortage to a pandemic. This is a fairly routine resource planning exercise, but this will provide a platform for the second objective. And this is where we're looking at the real-time resource monitor that examines the operational activities. Now, with the best will in the world, any plan has to be subject to some sort of change. And what this tool needs to do is to pick up on the signals where that plan has changed and be able to recognize that there are changes that needed to provide a nuance or a fine-tune the overall plan. We can get to see where the operation is not meeting its KPIs or service criteria, and some of this backwork were highlighted in the challenge statement. I can best describe it and liken it to an engine management system. Most cars today have a tool that can manage the efficiency, the performance, and tell you what to do on any modern motor car. This is effectively what we're looking for, an engine management system for a warehouse that can provide this overarching control to keep everything in balance, so you don't get wasted cost, resources, or capacity. I think what's appealing about this challenge is that it's not unique to Kiel. Every modern retail supply chain faces the same challenges, this balance between service and optimal costs. Some deal with it better than others, but this tool had the same appeal for a centralized retailer in Asia, America, Europe, or anywhere else. Indeed, we could also adapt this to our own stores, because the principles of cost and service are evident there 7 days a week. Difficult to give you a more complete or detailed analysis than the time allowed, but hopefully this has given you a flavour for the scope and the potential for this challenge. So Mariam, back to you.
Thank you, Chaita, Barry. That was extremely insightful, and I hope all you guys who are going to take a crack at the Kiel's challenge statement were paying good attention. Please remember that you can ask all your questions in the Q&A tab. So next up, I'd like to call Jude Gomez, Chief Executive Officer, Vindhya Kure, Chief Bank Assurance Officer, and Rumesh Modrage, Chief Technical Officer at Union Assurance PLC to take the floor. Over to you guys.
Thank you, Mariam. Thank you. And for joining today's directly to insurance and life insurance as a sector, friends, has been very slow in transformation and also in innovation. Union insurance with digital to make it simple, to make it transparent, and to make it easy. And a key enabler in our digital innovation journey at Union Insurance has been co-creation, collaboration, and collaborative partnerships. So constant collaboration with the best-in-class technology providers and emerging startups has really helped our digital capabilities, and we managed to bring in many innovative initiatives to the forefront. Now, this win-win collaboration has really helped Union Insurance lead the industry in the digital innovation space. So let me share a brief overview of two open innovative challenges we have for you, which my colleagues Vindhya and Rumesh will further elaborate after me. So first is in creating the Click Life digital ecosystem. This is a broader digital vision to reimagine traditional life insurance and create a digital native, this in distributing life insurance customized solutions to acquire, we would say, new to insurance customers as well as financially matured clients. And in digitizing policy servicing, in digitizing the claims interactions, and also provide a fairly comprehensive health and lifestyle ecosystem. Comprehensive app in the market, Click Life, really revolutionized the life insurance industry in Sri Lanka. And we believe that by fusing both fintech as well as health tech, we can help close the protection gap and reinforcing our core philosophy and commitment in protecting the Sri Lankan dream. So we are inviting startups to build a thriving health and wealth ecosystem around this proposition called Click Life and explore new ways the insurance. And the second challenge being the next generation underwriting technology. So over a long time, the industry has spoken about automated underwriting, about the use of big data and about artificial intelligence, all to improve underwriting. However, in reality, most companies continue with the traditional methods of underwriting with a limited degree of digitization. So at Union Insurance, we believe that there is a big opportunity to break this iceberg and come up with a real-time risk scoring and facilitate AI to identify risk in a much more granular and sophisticated manner, which underwriting decisions for everyone, especially for us. So by 2025, it is estimated that there will be 1 trillion connected devices, and this will result in an avalanche of new data, which will allow and clients much more deeply, and it'll pave way for new insurance product categories and much more personalized pricing in terms of the underwriting scope. Again, we are inviting the startups to co-create methods for capturing new streams of data and develop advanced analytics models to create next generation underwriting technology. So finally, friends, the post-COVID world calls for greater collaboration between the financial institutions and the fintechs, and the journey is exciting ahead. And Union Insurance is committed to support open innovation and contribute to building a fintech ecosystem in Sri Lanka. And I'm looking forward personally to our open innovation journey really taking flight. So that's from my end, and over to you, Vindhya and Rumesh.
Thank you, Jude. Hi, everyone. So first of all, let me wish you guys all the very best. I'm sure you must be really excited to take on these challenges. So I will take you through the first challenge. So the first challenge, we have two parts. So like Jude said, Union Assurance has basically introduced the first in Sri Lanka kind of a app, which is called the Click Life app. This has been predominantly a self-servicing app, but our holistic vision is, like Jude explained, to also build in a freemium funnel so that the Click Life app will also serve as a new customer acquisition platform, and also to keep our engagement going with our existing customers. Why is this important? Basically, research shows that the consumer in the digital era is looking for 4 things when it comes to insurance. One is simplicity. They want a simple solution at an affordable cost, and it should be accessible at their fingertips, and also they want it as and when they need it. So with this, we see the insurance players moving from the role of being an insurance service provider to being that of a partner. So their customer engagement, stickiness is the key. And we also see a lot of bite-sized products, which is emerging. When we look at the region, we see a high adoption rate, and insurance providers like Prudential, Pulse app, as well as Ping and Good Doctor has basically created that traction, that scale, which is required. So on those lines, we would like to invite wellness, health, wealth management startups to basically partner with us and see as to how we can give that value-adding proposition to the customer, so that we position the ClickLife app as the best health and fitness as well as wealth management app. So that is the holistic vision that we have. And then on the second challenge, what we have is, like Jude said, we also have a ClickLife product. Now, ClickLife product is superior because there has not been any other player in the industry who has been able to come up with a completely digital product. So this is a 5-click product that we have, which we can buy online. So now our challenge is, okay, what should be our go-to-market strategies on that? How do we develop that partner ecosystem? What sort of products should we introduce to our customers? And as to how we can improve that customer journey, because we also need to bear in mind insurance industry, there are certain regulations that we need to abide with. Whilst we fulfill those requirements, we also have to give a simplified journey to our customers. So these are basically the 2 aspects that we have on ClickLife product. And Rumesh, over to you on the second challenge.
Thank you, Vidya. Good evening to all of you. So I will take you through the second challenge of Union Assurance, which is the new gen life insurance underwriting. So first, I will give a briefing about life insurance to get a better understanding, then on current challenges faced by the industry or Union Assurance, and finally, I will brief the expectation from the startups. So in summary, life insurance is a contract that typically lasts for decades, and the price frequently set at the contract inception. Therefore, it is important to make available all the information to an underwriter to assess the risk before an insurance company accepts the risk, or rather coverage. I remember early days of my career as a life insurance underwriter. During that time, underwriters used to look at 5 key risk areas to assess the individual's risk. The first one is the past and current health of the individual. Second one is the financial status. Third one is the occupation. Fourth one is the hobbies and travel. And fifth, the last one is the other personal information of the individual. But in the modern context, with the introduction of AML and KYC requirements, now the processes have become lengthier and complex. However, within the life insurance industry, we have already seen a trend in the digitalization of the insurance process, which is a move from paper to system-based, and straight through processing of standard lives without human intervention. But I believe we can streamline these processes further in 2022 and beyond. In 2022, we are in a much more better position than ever to focus as to how we could offer instant life insurance for our Sri Lankan market. At the moment, most of the life insurance companies gather data from different sources through manual means to underwrite the risk. For example, medical information from hospitals, financial information from financial institutes, address proofs, NIC verification with DRP, verification of data through social media, and so on and so forth. This has made life insurance process lengthy with a lot of manual intervention. And I believe that could be one of the reasons for low penetration in Sri Lanka market. But in the modern context, people are more aware of the health than ever before. Our health records that were previously held by healthcare professionals are now available for individual access. This new level of transparency will further increase with the introduction of digital health wallets in the market. This will allow insurers to directly extract health-related information from digital health wallets. Definitely, we should need to get the consent from the customer. And ultimately, these initiatives will improve the underwriting turnaround time and better terms of acceptance. In addition to the points I mentioned, there is another futuristic side to look at it. So I'm giving hints. And if you can think big, this could change the future of underwriting in Sri Lanka as well as in many other countries. Wearable devices used by most of us allow monitoring of health in real time. If we can capitalize on this, the risk management will then be shifted from a static process which used historical data to a dynamic process that relies on a continuous flow of real-time risk assessment data. And as I mentioned, this definitely will be the future of underwriting, especially for millennials and Gen Z. So with these challenges or from these developments, the objective of an insurance company should be to allow underwriters to focus on more complex cases by utilizing their skills and expertise. Finally, to wrap up, we are inviting startups to co-create methods for capturing new streams of data and propose next generation underwriting technology to make life insurance process automated, but definitely with proper screening of customers at the onboarding stage. Thank you and all the best for all the participants.
Thank you, Ramesh, Vindhya, Jude, for that very insightful discussion on the two problem statements that Union Assurance had. Next up, I would like to invite Nadija Tambaya, President Group Legal, Secretarial and CSR, and Shihara Gunasekara, Assistant Manager, Group Legal, to talk about their challenge and how you can hack it.
Thank you very much, Miriam. Thank you, everyone, for coming to this event. I wanted to take this opportunity to see whether we could modernize what has traditionally been quite a traditional and rather old-fashioned profession with a lot of manual work. And what we can offer from John Keel's is 150 years of contractual experience, a team that has basically been involved in practically every industry in Sri Lanka, arranging contracts from the smallest to large transactional ones, possibly the biggest in the country. I've noticed that around the world, people are using technologies such as blockchain to ease how legal work takes place, to bridge the accessibility to legal services, and also I think to look at standardization and to some extent quality control. I've noted in particular how you can use technology to ensure data integrity, electronic signatures, automated compliance, using NFTs to safeguard some of our intellectual property. I think if you go into this in the legal regime, the possibilities are endless. And what we'd like to do, because we would be implementing it within the group itself, is to work with people who are interested in this to take it forward. Very short. I'm going to ask Shahara to give you a little bit more detail.
Thanks, Nadija. So like Nadija explained, we have at the John Keel's Group Legal Department quite a few standard template contracts for various types of transactions across several industries. Currently, we are accessing them via a folder where we've categorized them, and whenever a business unit within the John Keel's Group requires it, we go into those folders, find exactly what they require, and send it across to them. That process takes a bit of time and the requirement to drop a mail, make a call, get into a meeting. So what we're looking for in our problem statement and for you to look at helping us to solve is driving efficiency in that process, and having maybe a one-click kind of solution to maybe download those formats from one place. If it's a standard form contract and you don't require many changes, just to fill in the party details and any standard information, download it and you're ready to execute it between the parties. That saves a lot of time for the lawyers and even for the business units who need to make that transaction happen at a fast pace. However, if they do require certain changes to be made to the standard clauses, they are able to contact the legal department. So maybe a feature that you could think of including in that is maybe booking time with the lawyer on that system itself, where the lawyer's calendar and the business unit's time is seen at the same time, and you are able to talk to the lawyers and you're sure that you will be able to make that time. Another futuristic point of view of the solution that we're looking at is possibly having these templates available for third-party users, that's users outside the John Keells group, possibly at a fee maybe, and having them access these formats. For example, startups that are looking for quality contracts or specific types of contracts for their type of transaction, they are then able to access our database, download the format they require, pay that fee, and use it for their purpose. So I think that's mainly what we are looking at. Over to you, Miriam.
Thank you, Shehara. Thank you, Nadija. So guys, we've now heard from Keells, we've heard from Union Assurance, we've heard from Group Legal. So if you're planning on taking a crack at any of those challenges, do use the Q&A section and get those questions coming in. Use this chance to the max. Now, next up, we have Sitara Soisa, who is the Head of Advisory, Smart Solutions and Services at John Keells IT, to take the floor. Over to you, Sitara.
All right, okay. Thank you so much. To start with, let me give you some insights and some background about the solution that we are going to address here. So if you look at the industry today, right, the companies are looking for smart way of doing businesses, and also especially to the reshape their business and help them to integrate and also the sustain and leverage the growth. So it's a fact that bringing emerging technologies always made the difference between you be competitive in the market or you barely keeping up. So as a result, what has happened? Many digital the platforms or solutions being introduced, and also every possible business process is automated. So if you look at the other side of the story, so if you look at the employee side of it, so in many cases, the users are forced to log into multiple platforms. So the multiple solutions get simple work done day-to-day basis. So this can be due to many reasons. So it can be due to lack of seamless integration across the platform, or it can be the companies are using the monolithic or distributed solution where it is not integration is not flexible, and also it's difficult. So we at John Keells Society, we have thought about it, and we have developed and designed up a smart platform, especially to that will help to integrate multiple business solutions, and especially that will help customers to reimagine data-driven new business models. So so if I look at the architecture side of the solution, if I discuss a little bit about the technical side. So the platform that we have developed is we have developed on top of the Microsoft Azure framework, and also it is API driven. So all the APIs are exposed through Azure API Manager, and also the platform is well secured and scalable. The most importantly, it is future ready. So and also it is designed in such a way that the platform help customers to be more agile. It is data driven, and also this cloud first, the mobile first, and it will add up great flexibility. So we are in a process of building many business solutions on top of the platform. So that's what we are expecting from the startups, get together and the build the solutions. So one solution area that we have looked at is smart office. So which will especially act as a sort of personal assistant to the employees, especially to bring efficiency, and also that add convenience, and simply it will give you a sort of a automated office experience. And also another area that we have looked at is smart retail. So we have looked to make the solution more smarter, and add the value, and also this will give a sort of omni-channel strategy, right? And also another business solution that we have looked at, there are a few more. So the smart homes, so that is to bring and improve smart way of living. Another solution area that we are planning to build on top of the platform is smart the factory. So that is sort of a IoT platform that will collect data from different and various IoT devices, so from platforms, and that will give you meaningful data insights, and also you will have the facility to control devices, and it will forecast. So in nutshell, the idea behind the smart platform is to transform the product that is historically maybe more expensive and maybe complicated, and we are trying to make it more simple and affordable solutions. So on this note, so we would like to invite startups or the partners join us on this great journey, and reimagine the digital future. Thank you.
Thank you, Sitara. I hope all you techies had your eyes and ears open. Like I mentioned before, the Q&A section is there for you to ask all your questions. We have all the business unit heads here to help you out in case you need a little more clarification on a few things. So next up, I'd like to invite Navin Ratnayaka, the head of research at John Keel Stockbrokers, to go over their problem statement with you.
Hi, thank you, Mariam. So John Keel Stockbrokers is one of the founding members of the Colombo Stock Exchange, and basically our core product is equity brokerage. So we make a commission on the buying and the selling of stocks for our clients. Over the last 2 years, especially after the pandemic, what we have seen is an explosion in interest in the stock market. We have had shares that have gone up 100-fold, and we have seen a huge surge of interest in the market from local retailers, and a different kind of retail than what the market used to have. The Sri Lankan stock market is notoriously volatile. We used to have daily average turnovers of something like 1 to 1.5 billion rupees, and currently we are running turnovers about 10 times that. And if you look at what the stock exchange has done in terms of digitalization, and what the brokers have done in terms of facilitating online trading, as well as what we have seen in terms of what the market did due to the ups and downs of the economy resulting from the pandemic, we've seen tremendous opportunities for people in trading stocks. And we've seen the barriers to entry for trading having come down a lot with our online trading platform. But despite that, and despite seeing this huge inflow of interest from retailers, we also see a lot of novice investors who are still not informed enough to make systematic decisions on the investments. And what we can see is that they kind of pick and choose the trends that they want to follow, and they pick and choose the stocks that they want to follow. They don't have enough information about the fundamentals of the business, or even in terms of looking at a price chart, what to look at and what to kind of ignore. And frankly, what happens is that if you don't do this kind of homework, buying and selling stocks, and especially day trading, can become very much like gambling. And you can be good at it for a while, but with the kind of volatility that you see in the market, you can also end up losing a lot of money. And our idea is to find partners to help us to expand our jksbonline.com platform, so that they could provide tailored dashboards and toolkits to help our new clients model portfolios, to assess potential returns, to look at things like fundamental information, price information, and sort of experiment and see what potential portfolios might look at. The portal is supposed to provide information in an infographic form, as well as sort of a personalized portfolio analysis, and to recommend buying and selling stocks based on clients' individual preferences and so on. And the idea is that this portal will then integrate into our online trading platform and give our clients the right information at the right time via multiple channels, which will help us kind of differentiate our offering of our online trading product from our rival brokerages, and onboard new customers as well.
Thank you, Navin. That was extremely insightful. Now, guys, it's about that time for you to challenge us. Our Q&A session is now beginning. So please get your questions in, and I'd like to invite all the business unit heads to please turn on your cameras. And Vishant, over to you.
Yeah, we already have a few interesting questions that have come in. I think the first one is for UAL. It's talking about using wearable devices. If an application can predict early symptoms of disease, will it be good for the UAL use case? Someone from UAL can take that?
I will take that question, Vishant. So I think the question was directed by Lahiru, right?
Lahiru, yes.
Yes. So Lahiru, definitely yes, it's beneficial for the company as well as for the life assured, because individual can take precautions, and that precautions reduces the risk for an insurance company. Yes. For that question, answer is yes, it's beneficial.
Great. There is a question also on data ownership. Whether it violates any guidelines, any feedback you would have on that? I think this is related to consumer wearables and apps in insurance underwriting.
Yeah, I believe as long as we do it with the consent of the customer, that should be okay, because we have seen in the international market certain other players who are doing it at the moment.
Thanks, Ramesh. I think one more for UAL. Only the app. This is to broad-base the reach. Comments? Even is smiling, she can take that.
Yes. So Suhara and everyone who is here. So as I said, currently we have two components: the ClickLife app, which is a more self-servicing app, and the ClickLife product can be bought online. If you go to buyonlineunionassurance.com or clicklife.com, you will be basically directed towards this app. So our challenge is as to how we build that ecosystem around it, so that people would actually drive towards that purchase. And also the other component of it is in terms of a vision, we want the app to be that holistic platform. So how we build that significant volume and traction towards this product is basically what we are looking for.
Thanks, Vindhya. There is a question. Maybe Ramesh, you might want to take this. Do we need to have a product ready to pitch for this? And if any other challenge owners want to take a stab at that, please feel free.
So the the challenge is open to anyone, right? So you might have an existing product, or you might want to latch on to this idea and build from scratch. So what we are trying to kind of assess your capabilities based on the MVP one. So like Vishal mentioned, ultimately you got to develop it to a demoable stage of an MVP one, so that we can see the value, your capability, as opposed to an accelerator, right? So both are okay. If you have an existing product, or you could build from scratch, as long as it is matching the challenges, benchmark and requirements, we are okay with that.
Any other challenge owners want to add on to that?
Let me take it. My view is, for the challenges which we pose from Union Assurance, for both of them, you will not have a ready product in all probability. So it's better that you work along with us, and there'll be more opportunity to understand, to iterate, to interact with us as you build something, and there'll be much more feedback provided, possibly that will help. However, if you do have a product which is ready, which we do not think so, then obviously we are more than happy.
Vishant, I think for the legal challenge there, I don't think we'll be reinventing the wheel too much. I've noticed the use of blockchain quite extensively in the legal field around, but I think what we offer is the chance to pilot some of those products in Sri Lanka with domain knowledge and perhaps adapt them.
Got it. I think on the futuristic, the moonshot that we had, that Shihara mentioned, was the external parties also can use that. Maybe that's where the iteration can come on an existing product.
Absolutely. So develop it with us as an incubator, then commercialize it.
Got it. Thank you, everyone. I have a question for Keels. You mentioned an engine management system. What are some of the moving parts that could be potential bottlenecks?
Okay, I'll take that one. It's a number of different things. It's labor and people, and the certain types of labor they have, whether it's a general warehouse operator or a mechanic handling engineer, anything that basically is part of that warehouse. There are requirements for equipment, there are requirements for transport, and they're all basically centered around the same volume plan. So it's understanding to make sure that they're all in line, they're all in equilibrium with one another, but you're not investing too much on one and not on the other. The balance on all of this is really important. And I just want to say one thing. You've heard on many of the presenters today talk about the complexity of the business that they're in. And one thing this solution needs to do is to simplify what is a complex process. That the art to this, and it is as much an art as it is a science, is to make something that is easy to use, intuitive, but also effective.
Thanks, Barry. Thanks. There's a question that has come in from Gayantha. Gayantha, thanks for your question. What if our offering is service-based currently? Would anyone want to take that? I think this is more towards maybe towards the lifestyle services, health and wellness, probably, if I'm not mistaken.
Click line.
Sorry, Ramesh, I think you want to mute her.
Vishant?
Yeah, let me try and take that, Vishant.
Sure.
Sorry, Vindhya, you wanted to say something? Otherwise, you take it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me say something. So if there is something where people are providing it as a service, we do have a platform which is partnerships where we can engage with them. However, possibly that will be out of this sort of a platform and the reason why we are here today. However, we will be more than happy to engage with you, so you can get in touch with us directly or through Vishant, and we'll be happy to look at you, onboard you if it's a win-win.
Thank you, Jude. There's a question, can a participant pitch for multiple challenges? Yes. you have the capacity, capability for multiple challenges, please do go for it. Not an issue at all. We have another question. Very interesting one. I think this would be a question that would come up a lot. Would you like to share your company collected data with the innovators for machine learning testing purposes? Very interesting one. Anyone wants to go for it?
I think there are guidelines. As I said, we will obviously have to comply to GDPR and privacy laws. So we will be able to share anonymized data, right? So it all depends on the kind of use case that you're trying to solve and what kind of data you would need. And we can probably look at sharing anonymized data on a need basis, or can give you data in our platform and access to that data rather than that the data can't leave the domains of our organization. So obviously we'll have strict governance strictures around it, but that's a possibility. Yeah.
There is also, I think, derived data which may not have personal information, and data on processes which we would obviously share with you, which may subject to NDAs.
Of course. Interesting one. There is a question. What digital distribution methods have you seen that work in the region? Any specific challenges in Sri Lanka? This is, I think, to do with union assurance again.
Maybe you're talking about digital distribution in terms of insurance, or you're talking about more in terms of?
I think it's more to do with insurance. Yeah.
So let me take that as well. Okay. So do we have seen, I would say, limit, and lately we have seen huge successes in roads made in terms of digital distribution. There are global, taken this initiative across.
Can others hear Jude?
I think, yeah, we lost Jude for a second.
Your voice is breaking up.
Vishant, until Jude's connection.
Yes, please go for it, Vindhya. Yes.
I'll come again. Let's see if it's because of the connectivity issue.
Vindhya, go for it.
Yeah. Can you hear me, Vishant? Vishant, can you hear me?
Maybe, Jude, if you try with your camera off, it might help.
Okay. The high vision audible now.
Sorry, Jude, it's still the same. Maybe if India can take a crack at that, that's okay until we sort it out.
Yes, Vishant.
Yeah.
So as I said, in terms of digital distribution, we have seen two major success stories in the region, which definitely can serve as case studies. One is, yes, in terms of website, there were a few questions whether it is available. Then the app, but currently the issue that we have with the app is basically it is limited to existing policyholders. So that is where we want to build that freemium funnel. And we are also more interested in building that partner ecosystem as to how we can basically partner with other sites. And there are lots of digital banking platforms, right? And we also have existing bank assurance partnerships. So because banking as well as insurance goes with hand in hand. And so that is a big customer segment, which we are really focused on, where we want to capitalize. So there are e-commerce sites. So likewise, I think what is more important is as to, how you create that whole ecosystem around it so that there would be, there would be traction towards this product. So please do have a look at as to what has happened to the other apps. Please take those as case studies, because there are lots of insights which can be taken from these.
Thanks, Vindhya. There is a question for JK Legal again. Is a solution to the initial problem mentioned by Shehara enough for this stage? Or are you looking for broader solutions and possibilities for the application of blockchain, NFT, Web3 in the legal area? Is it just limited to that, what you mentioned, or are we open to a broader solution?
If I may, I think definitely the broader solution. Shehara mentioned an existing, just to show the kind of manual process that one goes through when one looks at a simple agreement kind of draft. But there are so many different areas that they can intervene in that we'd be open to working with people on whatever they have.
Definitely. Yeah.
Doesn't have to be all, it can be just.
I just want to add to that. So whenever you're proposing in terms of a solution, bear in mind that this is going to be MVP iterative process, right? So try to solve the initial problem as MVP 1, and whatever you're proposing beyond, propose it as MVP 2, 3 in iterations. So we would probably look at an MVP getting released in about 3 months, 3 to 4 months, right? So make sure that you don't try to do one big product, because obviously the investment also will be staggered, because we also want to understand your proofing, your capability before we start investing big time, right? So take that MVP iterative model and try to address the problem which has been stated in the challenge statement as MVP 1, and then you can build your vision in terms of MVP 2s and 3s. That you can propose then.
Got it. Sitara, you have your hand up. Do I mistake, or you want to share something?
I think it's a mistake. Yeah, sorry.
No problem. I think we have a few more questions. You can keep them coming in. We have about 5 to 10 minutes left, so please do keep your questions coming in. We have a general question across all units. Is there an expectation on the specific TRLs, technology readiness level? I think we sort of touched on that question. So maybe we might skip that. If anyone wants to take a stab at that, to add to that.
I think one of the things, as you know, as a group, we have embraced Microsoft Azure as a key platform. So a lot of the groups, in terms of, I think Sitar also mentioned, we are pretty mature on the Azure tech. And the reason we have partnered with Microsoft startups is also because of that. So we also probably would give you, maybe if you're trying to hack, we will give you an Azure tenant from the respective businesses, or a kind of a POC tenant for you to build your capabilities. And we would like you to leverage Azure technology as much as possible. The integration for us becomes much easier than otherwise, right? So that's a preference. But in terms of the rest of it, like Nadija mentioned, we are open to use whatever technology which is proven, right? Because obviously we don't want to kind of bleed, but we want to definitely push the boundaries in terms of exploring the world out there.
Thanks, Ramesh. There's a question: can international participants be a part of this challenge? I would say yes. I mean, given the way that problems are solved nowadays remotely, I think the opportunity is there. If anyone wants to add to that.
I agree. I think if we can bring them in, it'll be great. We should be looking at collaborating as much as possible.
Great. I think there are more questions coming in.
They've also asked whether we will be willing to use a solution used by a competitor.
Yes, Nadija, you want to take a stab at that?
From a legal perspective, I have no problem with it at all, because I mean, ultimately, what we want to give you is something that you can commercialize and would obviously be used by competitors. But I'm not sure about insurance and some of the other solutions.
Also, I think when you say competitor, have they invested in your product, or is it owned by you solely? So that's where I think the difference would come in, because here we are trying to invest in your product as well, not just pay for the product, right? So we would want to understand what is a competitor's landscape, his interest in the product, and because when we would want you to evolve a roadmap in terms of our aspirations, we don't want conflicts, right? So we need to understand what interest does the competitor have in your product from an investment point of view and a roadmap point of view.
There's a question on ClickLife app that has just come in. If anyone wants to handle that, Vindhya,
This is on the Vision with ClickLife app,
that's
right?
right. Yes, that's
yes.
right.
Good question. So definitely not as a insurance app. The reason why I'm saying is when you position it as an insurance app, you're being very narrow focused. You're taking a very product oriented approach. So as I said, now the first in the market, if you consider the region who has come up with digital insurance products, but have positioned it as an insurance product, has failed because of this very narrow product minded approach. So what has worked really well is in terms of health and fitness, as well as wealth management, because as I said, customer stickiness and that whole journey of being a provider to a partner is very important. So in that front, we want to position this as a health and fitness as well as a wealth management app.
Great. Thanks, Vindhya. There's another question. What is the expectation at the final pitch? What kind of deliverables are required at that point? Maybe I'll start if anyone can add after that. I think what the businesses would like to see is how we are going to execute that POC, what key outcomes you're looking at, what key deliverables you're looking at in terms of tackling that specific problem. And whilst you're working with them in that 6 to 8 week period, I mean, they will tell you exactly what they're looking for in terms of what KPIs they want to model and track and what the deliverables are. So maybe at the final pitch, you need to demonstrate how you would run that POC for them, with them rather. Anyone wants to add on to that? What you would like to see at the pitch?
Yeah. So when it's come to, if you're planning to bring the solution into the smart platform, so what we are exactly looking at here, the technology that you are going to use, and also we are looking at the business problem that you are going to resolve. So those are the two main points that we are looking at. As far as it has the proper the foundation, the scalability and all. So we are trying to look at.
Thanks, Siddharth. Anyone else wants to add on to that? I think that's a very important question as well. Okay, we can move on. Some interesting questions coming in. I think we have a few more minutes. Can mental health of a person be part of consideration when attracting more leads to UAL? Are you open to the idea of gaining more leads through a digital mental health service?
Let me take that, and then Rumesh, you can join in. Okay.
Sure, Jyoti.
Vanished.
Is it me or?
Cannot hear Jude. I don't know whether he's speaking.
Maybe we'll just okay. We'll maybe anyone
Rumesh,
else,
you want to take that?
or Rumesh? We move on to the next question. Okay, until they're ready, maybe we can take another question. Would solutions that are configured upon existing product platform be considered? This means investment in the company is not necessarily needed. Maybe Ramesh or Sitara can take a stab at that.
It depends. As I said, we need to see your current base. What is your roadmap? So that's fine. Yeah, you can pitch. We're not saying necessarily we have to invest in everything, but if you have a ready-made offering which can fix the problem, why not?
There's a question on, would you consider integration during the POC? Yes, my answer would be, I think some of these use cases would require integration. So I think some of the challenges have stated that They will open out the APIs for you. They will provide a sandbox environment. So yes, integration during the POC will be provided where relevant. If anyone wants to add on to that, please feel free. We'll have time for maybe 1 or 2 more questions.
Sorry, Vishant, on the question raised on the mental health, shall I answer?
Yes, Ramesh, go
yes.
for it.
So directly, we are not. Yeah, directly we are not in a position to give an answer because there are certain underwriting guidelines we have. So we need to have a broad understanding about what is meant. So to give a specific answer. So there are certain restrictions in life insurance underwriting. So we need to get a better understanding about the question.
Thanks,
if required,
yes.
I will be able to answer subsequently based on the note.
Great. So these are some of the typical questions that you can get answers to during that 6 to 8 week phase where we would have the experts, the knowledge that resides within the businesses that you can tap and get answers to when designing your solutions. That's just one example. Would we have any, maybe we can go to a close now. If we have any closing remarks from the panelists, now is your time to go for it. Maybe a quick closing remark, 10 to 15 seconds.
I just wanted to say a big thank you to all the participants and for the very engaging questions. And we are happy to take more questions. We are happy to take more questions as and when it arises. So please feel free to reach us, and we wish you all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you from me as well. I look forward to working with, I think we can take technology services and legal services in Sri Lanka to a next level if we get this right. And I'm very much looking forward to working with you all on this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, panelists. Thank you, audience. You guys have been great. So before we wrap up, I just want to remind you all of 2 very significant dates. So our applications for our JKX Accelerate program close on the 15th of February, and the applications for the JKX Innovate program, which is what today's open day was all about, will close on the 28th of February, 2022.
Sorry, we lost Mariam as well.
I think she can be heard.
Mariam, you might want to repeat yourself.
Sure. So what I was telling you guys is that I was just highlighting 2 extremely important dates. Firstly, do note that the applications for the JKX Accelerate program, the deadline has been extended to the 15th of February, and applications for the JKX Innovate program, which is what today's open day was all about, will close on the 28th of February, 2021. So as always, we're there. If you have any questions, we're happy to help you out.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys. Looking forward to an engaging.
Yes, very optimistic about this. Looking forward. Take care.
Good night.
Thanks, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you.